So there's two teams in the league that are on the clock, the Bears and the Broncos. Excellent quarterbacks, both on the rookie contracts, excellent, clever offensive coaches, well above average rosters. They got about 2 years to hit it because then Bo Nix and Caleb Williams are going to get paid. So again, Seattle's rock.
I want to take a moment to address something that's been circulating in NFL discourse. There's a particular analyst who's been going on at length about various teams and their supposed Super Bowl windows closing. According to this line of thinking, the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, the San Francisco 49ers, essentially, if your quarterback isn't operating on a rookie contract, your window is effectively shut. That's why he highlighted teams like the Chicago Bears and the Denver Broncos as having open windows. They have their young quarterbacks on affordable deals. And I have to say, I find that perspective incredibly narrow. It's a limited way of examining the complex dynamics of roster construction and organizational success. Now, let me be clear. I'm not disputing that having a quarterback on a rookie deal provides advantages. Obviously, it's beneficial. When you're not allocating $50 million annually to your signal caller, you have additional resources to fill out the roster, to go out and acquire a player like a Zadarius Smith or a premium free agent. You have that flexibility. You can look at available talent and say, we'll take you. That's undeniably easier. But the fundamental question that this framework ignores is whether an organization is well run or not. That's the actual variable. You either understand how to operate a franchise effectively, or you don't. You either possess the capability to construct a competitive roster year after year, or you lack that competence. It's that binary. Because if we accept the premise that paying a quarterback automatically closes your window, then we have to ask a more fundamental question. Why pay a quarterback at all? Seriously, if that's the reality we're accepting, that the moment you extend your franchise quarterback, your championship aspirations are essentially over, then what's the purpose? What are we doing here? Are we just hoping for a fun season here and there? What's the point of investing in a quarterback if the inevitable outcome is irrelevance? You see the logical problem here. So, I return to the central distinction. You're either a well-run franchise or you're not. Yes or no? That's the question. And yes, when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal, it's easier to go out and aggressively pursue premium talent. You have that financial runway. But that's precisely why organizational competence matters. That's why you need to be able to structure smart contracts, to build through the draft effectively, to make prudent decisions in free agency. You're either competent at these things or you aren't. Because if we follow the window closed logic to its conclusion, we'd have to go down the list of every quarterback in the league. Every single team. Essentially, according to this framework, every franchise except, technically, the Commanders, the Bears, the Broncos, the Patriots would have to accept that their quarterback won't win another Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes? Window closed, he's getting paid. Josh Allen? Window closed. Lamar Jackson? Window closed. Joe Burrow? Window closed. Jalen Hurts? Window closed. Matthew Stafford? Window closed. Trevor Lawrence? Window closed. We just marched down the list, team by team, quarterback by quarterback. And at that point, the logical extension becomes almost comical. It would mirror the way the league has historically treated running backs. The prevailing wisdom becomes, we're not giving this player another contract. We're moving on. We're kicking him to the curb. So by that logic, when it's time to pay Bo Nix, just don't. Move on from him and draft another quarterback. Rinse and repeat. But you can't realistically look at it that way. You simply cannot construct a sustainable franchise around that philosophy. And if that narrative actually proves true, if it really is over as soon as a quarterback gets paid, and listen, I'm not downplaying the difficulty. I fully acknowledge that it's harder when your quarterback commands a significant portion of the cap. I'm certainly not minimizing that challenge. I've been critical of the Dallas Cowboys and how they structured business with Dak Prescott, allocating that much money and hamstringing the roster. I stand by that critique. That was a specific situation with specific consequences. But that's precisely why I keep circling back to organizational competence. That's why I emphasize either you're a well-run franchise or you aren't. Or, alternatively, you have quarterbacks willing to take less than market value to preserve competitive balance. But relying on that is not a sustainable strategy. The entire framework just seems bizarre to me. It creates this environment where every team not operating with a rookie quarterback is essentially written off. their Super Bowl window is declared closed. And I'm left wondering, then what are we even doing here? Seriously, what's the point of following the season? What's the point of roster construction, of free agency, of the draft? Everybody should just be hunting for the next Malik Willis, the next Mac Jones, quarterbacks you can acquire on essentially rookie deals and then discard when it's time to pay them. That's the logical conclusion of this thinking. I'm genuinely curious how conversations like this land with you all. What does it mean to you? Because for me, it forces me into a corner where I have to question the entire premise. I have to ask, what are we doing? Why are we even having this conversation? Everyone seems so comfortable, so confident in declaring when one window is open and another is closed. And I just find myself asking, based on what? What's the actual evidence? Take the Cincinnati Bengals. If you believe their window is closed, fine. But if it is closed, it's not because they paid Joe Burrow. It's because they are fundamentally a poorly run organization. That's the reason. That's the distinction. The Baltimore Ravens paid Lamar Jackson. They should have won in 2023. They were right there. And they didn't lose because they paid Lamar Jackson. That's not why they came up short. That's not the reason. So, it comes down to trust. You either trust that your organization can navigate the challenges of a quarterback contract, or you don't. And I'm not talking about the roster in isolation. I'm talking about the organization itself, the front office, the decision-making apparatus. And I think the Denver Broncos in recent years have proven themselves to be a well-run franchise. That's what I find myself focusing on more and more in the off-season discussions. It's not about the games. We're not watching those yet. It's about the structure. It's about the decisions being made. What are you doing in free agency? Who are you drafting? Who are you re-signing? Who are you letting walk? How well-run is this team? And from the moment Sean Payton arrived in Denver, the Broncos have consistently taken steps in the right direction. Consistently, repeatedly, constantly, step after step after step. So, when the time comes to pay Bo Nix, when that day arrives, they'll be smart about it. They'll be strategic in how they conduct business, how they structure the contract, how they approach the draft, who they decide to pay in free agency, and who they allow to depart. Because otherwise, like I said, what's the point? What are we even doing here? I think we have these established frameworks for viewing the NFL. We have these set ways of thinking that have become ingrained in the discourse. And I believe they're really, really narrow. Because so much of our collective perception has been dominated by two players, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. If we look at the last 20 years or so, we can sprinkle in the Peyton Mannings of the league, the occasional outlier. But once we start getting into the early 2000s, I have to ask, do we really care how teams won in 2003? Does that have any relevance to today's game? Honestly, if we're going to draw meaningful conclusions, we should probably look at the last 10 years at most. Realistically speaking, given how business is conducted, how football is played, the rule changes, the evolution of offensive and defensive schemes, that takes us from about 2016 onward. And obviously, a significant chunk of that era is still dominated by Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. Two very specific scenarios, exceptionally specific circumstances. Tom Brady floating to different teams and winning elsewhere. That's not a replicable template. That's not a framework you can apply to other franchises. And then you have teams like the Philadelphia Eagles winning, the Los Angeles Rams winning. I think that's probably the extent of it in the last 10-year window. The Chiefs, the Patriots, and obviously the Seahawks earlier in that span. But what about a team like the Atlanta Falcons? Matt Ryan easily could have won a Super Bowl if not for Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. And he wasn't on a rookie deal. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to get at. Patrick Mahomes won Super Bowls not on a rookie deal, but again, he's Patrick Mahomes. That's not a useful comparison for most franchises. Then you had the Jimmy Garoppolo situation in San Francisco. I believe he got paid in 2019, $150 million or so, which at that time was top dollar. And they reached the Super Bowl. They could have won against Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's a data point. Then you had Brock Purdy, which was its own unique situation. Jalen Hurts got paid. Jalen Hurts just won the Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles. Most definitely not on a rookie deal. He got paid after the 2022 season. He reached the Super Bowl on a rookie deal, then got paid, then returned to the Super Bowl and won. Go figure. It's almost as if the Eagles are a well-run franchise. And then this past year, another unique situation, Sam Darnold. Obviously not on a rookie deal, but on an incredibly team-friendly contract relative to what quarterbacks typically command. So, I don't think we have this fully fleshed out. I don't think the framework is as settled as some analysts would have you believe. And like I said, looking at what happened in 2006 for wisdom about today's NFL, I don't know how much insight is to be gained there. Honestly, at this point, I really don't. The coaching is different. The players are different. The way football is played is different. Go watch a game from 2004. Seriously, pull up highlights. You'll watch and think, what is this? This isn't the football I've been watching. It's just different. Everything about it is different. The play calling is different. The execution is different. The style of play, the hits, the contact. It's all different. I mean, seriously, I was watching NFL Network recently, and they showed the Rams-Titans Super Bowl. I was struck by how different the game looked. Then they showed Packers-Steelers, a more recent one, and even that felt like a different era. Beyond just the quality of play, the game itself, the rhythm, the structure, was noticeably distinct. You just knew. You watched and thought, everything about this is different. So, I think you have to be careful with conclusions drawn from history as a reference point. Use the last few years. And we've had some pretty interesting outcomes in the last few years. Matthew Stafford, on a significant deal, went to Los Angeles and won a Super Bowl. Sam Darnold, on a unique one-year prove-it deal, won a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, at top dollar, won a Super Bowl. I'm just saying. The evidence is there. The framework is more complicated than the rookie deal or bust narrative suggests. Those are simply my perspectives on the matter. I'm genuinely interested in hearing your thoughts. What's your assessment of the Philadelphia Eagles? What about the Denver Broncos? Do you believe that the moment they extend Bo Nix, it's over? Window slammed shut? Let me know your opinions in the comments. I read every single response, whether you agree with my analysis or you're prepared to challenge it. Either way, let's generate some meaningful discussion. Let's engage in some spirited debates. But most importantly, let's keep it enjoyable. And please, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. We're cultivating an incredible community here, and I genuinely value having you as part of it. My goal is to build something that fosters genuine connection, something we're all truly excited to contribute to. I believe we're making substantial progress toward that vision. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It significantly enhances visibility and supports the algorithm. Thank you so much for your continued support. I'll see you in the next one.